What it's like having a trans 7-year-old part 3. My son does not have gender dysphoria. He simply doesn't identify with the gender that we assigned him at birth.
This is gonna blow your mind.
Hi, hello. If you are queer, trans, or an ally, please stay till the end of this video. As per usual, the video will only be a minute long, so just pinch the screen or hit the top right corner to speed it up. Me and my partner are currently fundraising to flee the country for our safety. We've raised almost $7,000, which we are so grateful for, but we technically have a goal of $32,000 in order for us to get the visas that we need, which are DTV visas, which you only have to renew every 5 years, which helps us have more stability and to be able to rely on that instead of having to leave the country every 30 days. My partner is also unemployed right now, so it's just me financially holding everything together, and it's really overwhelming and really hard. I'm not able to save anything right now. All my money goes to bills, so if you have anything to donate at all, even if it's just $1, we would greatly appreciate it. Our Cash Apps and GoFundMes are in both our bios. If you don't have anything to donate, that's totally fine. Just interact as much as you can with this video, send it to as many people, interact from bottom up, and do as much as you can in the comments. You can comment photos, you can do whatever you want, just go crazy in the comments. I try to give you guys weekly updates, so please stay tuned, and hopefully we'll be able to get to our goal soon. My boyfriend's also disabled, so it's been really hard for him to find income, even remote, and being trans on top of that has just been super scary here. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video, and stay tuned for our next video.
Wait, so you have a GoFundMe because you want to leave the United States because you feel unsafe here, looking like that? I'd love to know what country you're going to, number one. Number two, you also have a disabled partner. So what? These goofball trans people who feel unsafe, and they already raised like $6,000. Suckers. They're not going anywhere. They aren't going anywhere. They're all taking your money, pretending like they're leaving the country. They're not going anywhere. It's just so pathetic. Oh, man. Anyway, today I'm going to bring you so much effed up stuff that is on trans TikTok. It's mind-blowing. It's actually mind-blowing. I know. Every time I see this stuff, I just can't even believe this has turned into trans. So before I move forward, I just want to remind you, thanks so much for subscribing to my channel, commenting, liking this video, getting it to people who needs to see it. I don't know actually who needs to, well, everyone needs to see it because it's actually out of control. So let's move on to the next one. These are literally going to blow your mind.
Nobody told me that being a man would mean getting your stomach hairs caught in the strings of your sweatpants. And then when you go to untie it, not realizing they're caught, and you pull the string and it just rips out your hairs and it hurts so fucking bad.
Who are these people? First off, I read the comments on this. Every man said, never happened to me. Every single man said, this never happened to me. So number one, dude, that has nothing to do with you getting your hair of your belly caught in your sweatpants. More importantly, what's up with that top surgery? Holy crap. Okay, I don't care what any of you trans guys say to me that I'm shaming. I'm not shaming this young person here. I feel bad for this young person. That is not top surgery. That is a gigantic scar across their chest that removed their breasts. And now how does that look like a man? How in any way, shape, or form do you think that looks like a male sculpted chest? This has gone so off the deep end, everybody. It's just so effed up beyond belief that this is called top surgery. That's not top surgery. That is actually the M word. I don't even know if I should say it. I don't know if it get beeped out. I don't know if this will get reported, but it is. That is not surgery. That is something else. As if women who I know who actually have hair there don't also get it caught in the sweatpants. It's not a man or a woman thing. Some women actually are hairy.
Good morning. Day one in the hospital. Damn, do I look rough, but I feel so much better. I was told I'm gonna have to stay in the hospital for probably 3 days. They're working on getting cultures to kill off the bacteria for the infection because it was a lot. The infection that caught onto the IPP device, which is the inflatable penile prosthetic device. Whenever you have a infection on a prosthetic, it attaches to the prosthetic itself. So it cannot get killed off from antibiotics. Once it attaches to the prosthetic, it has to be removed because then it lives on the prosthetic. I started swelling a lot on my glands, so much to the point where it was getting pretty difficult to urinate, but I was still doing it okay. I do have a catheter through my phallus, and no, my phallus didn't fall off. For anyone who oddly thinks that way, it's still there, it's still thriving, it's surviving, it's a part of my body, it's my anatomy. And let me tell you, having a catheter in it is not that bad, because I've had a catheter in it before bottom surgery. That is uncomfortable. So night and day difference.
Okay, well, if you didn't catch that, this dude got bottom surgery, which you know I am doing so many videos on, because these guys are literally constantly in the hospital, constantly having infections, constantly saying how happy they are. Really? In the hospital, in bed, with an infection again, that has to get your penile, whatever that is, fixed. And that the most important thing to you is standing and peeing? What? Do you know that I can stand and pee? I actually stand and pee. And without having any of that surgery. I taught myself how to stand and pee without anything, with my vagina. So if it's that, it can actually be done. I don't really believe these guys. I don't believe them. I'm just going to tell you, I don't believe them. I do not believe they're happy. I do not believe that this is something that they should be promoting. Now, I want to say this. Some of them are pushing back on me. Wow, Buck, you shouldn't be taking these and talk. Why? Why shouldn't I be taking them and talking about them? If you want to post this on, it's literally on TikTok. You're not doing it in I would never go into a private trans man forum, just so you know. I would never do that. I would never go into a private space where these guys are talking about, because they've been doing it for years, and talk about it and explain it. That is a private space for you to talk about whatever you need to talk about. But when you put it out on TikTok, the most massive app on the internet, and act like you're so happy with it, sorry, dude. I'm not, game on. I am not going to let you push this on the young generation of kids. I'm not going to let you do it, okay? So every time you put these on the internet with your infections and you're happy, but I can't pee and I have an infection and I'm back in the hospital again, sorry, dude. It's going on my feed and it's going to be ripped apart by me so that I save one of you little kids out there from going even down this route. It's so pathetic. You don't need a penis to be a man. This one's gonna blow your mind. It is actually everything I've been telling all of you, and it's gotten worse.
What it's like having a trans 7-year-old, part 3. My son does not have gender dysphoria. He simply doesn't identify with the gender that we assigned him at birth. And this is a really important part of the conversation that I'd really like anyone outside of the trans community to really start to hear and understand. Because you don't have to have dysphoria, you don't have to transition, you don't have to want surgeries, you don't have to want hormones to be trans. There's such a large umbrella of what the term trans covers in terms of being non-binary, in terms of being gender non-conforming. And yes, sometimes wanting to transition, but that is not the defining characteristic of what makes you trans. I've had a number of people in my comments say that being trans is defined by gender dysphoria, and that's simply not true. You don't have to be dysphoric to be trans. You simply have to not identify with the assigned gender that you were given at birth. That's it. You do not identify with the assigned gender at birth. Full stop. The reason so many transgender people are traumatized by this is because we violently enforce cisgender roles. So the dysphoria and discomfort is actually a result of our society trying to force them into a box, not an actual internal dysphoria. And there are absolutely trans individuals who have gender dysphoria, who do need transition, who do have a deep and pressing need for transformation. But that is not what makes you trans. And it's really interesting that my very happy, very well-adjusted 7-year-old, people seem to think that in order for him to be trans, he also has to be traumatized. Like, they require the trauma for them to feel like his gender is valid. So, food for thought. Why do we need trans individuals to be traumatized?
Oh, I just can't even believe all of that came out of this crazy parent, 7-year-old kid. You think that this parent might be traumatizing their 7-year-old kid with the rhetoric that just came out of this lady's mouth who's not even trans, saying that you don't need gender dysphoria? What is trans? You see, I'm telling you, I'm making the points here. These people are not trans. They have co-opted the word trans into an identity. They are acting as if trans is an identity now, that anyone can be trans. You don't need anything to be trans. You can just say you're trans. You don't have dysphoria. Then why are you trans? If you don't... She's contradicting herself constantly. She says it's just being not aligning with the gender you were given. That's dysphoria, lady. That is literally dysphoria. But no effing way is a 7-year-old even thinking about that when they don't even know what it means. Yes, societal roles, just don't put the roles on your daughter. This is her daughter. It's not her son. It's her daughter, who she's now made her son. Because look at what she's wearing. Look at what she's wearing. A total trans sweatshirt, sunglasses, all of it. She's literally a psycho. This person we need to find out who they are. We need to call CPS. That child is being abused. That is a form of child abuse. Bottom line, a form of child abuse. This one pisses me off more than any of them because this lady is sick. She's a psycho, sociopathic weirdo who's making shit up about what it means to be trans. As you see, I get so heated about it. I get so heated when I see these crazy parents. Here comes a really nice one.
Oh, and if you're trans and support Trump, bitch, just exit stage left, ho. We don't fuck with you. You stupid as shit, ho. You shouldn't even be trans. Bitch, matter of fact, if you trans and support Trump, detransition, bitch.
Literally telling people to detransition if they voted for Trump. That's that beautiful transgender community. That right there, I put that there because I wanted you to see how effed up it all is. And these people detransition if you voted for Trump. This is how insane that community is. It's the most crazy. It's a cult. That is very cult-like behavior. When you don't go along with everything everyone's telling you to do, you are now not part of the thing and you're not really trans and you need to detrans. Okay, so in that case...
I'm someone who has been dosed with Lupron and testosterone starting at 12. I received a bilateral mastectomy just 1 month after my 13th birthday. I went straight from training bras to binding, straight to the operating table at 13. The reason why is because I had undiagnosed autism and unaddressed childhood sexual trauma. I was scared to become a woman. I was getting unwanted male attention, which made me fearful of being victimized again. I had sensory issues I didn't know how to cope with when I began menstruating and needing bras. I learned about transgenderism at 11, and I thought maybe that was the reason I was so uncomfortable. I brought the idea to the therapist I'd been seeing, and she immediately affirmed me, gave me a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, and once I told my parents, she began writing referrals for doctors specializing in pediatric transition care. Never along the way did anyone question why I suddenly wanted to become a boy. They didn't comprehensively screen me for mental health disorders or ask me about any prior trauma. I saw Suzanne Watson in Kaiser Oakland's Proud Clinic, and within 90 minutes, she signed off for me to receive testosterone and meet with a surgeon named Winnie Tong. The mastectomy was explained to me at 12 using watered-down terms like top surgery. I was told I would never be able to chest feed. I was told I might lose sensation, but to me, at 12, that equated to numbness. But today I deal with nerve pain, extreme slicing sensations, electrical zaps, and itchiness. I could scratch my skin until I bleed, but with no relief because the skin is numb and doesn't register touch. However, the nerves underneath are erratic. I'm nearing 8 years post-op this September. As you can...
I want to die right now. 11. That mom was teaching her kid at 7. It's so effed up. It's all so effed up. They keep saying this isn't happening. They keep telling you these young girls are not doing, this is not happening. If you notice, it's all transgender women like Blossom, okay, who are pushing this shit on children. It's the transgender women mostly who are pushing this crap on the young girls. It's not, you don't see a lot of young boys doing this. It's mostly young girls. Those trans women are biological males pushing this experimental shit on the girls because they can use the girls to figure it out so that then the boys can get it and it's all awesome and great. Look at it all. These people are disgusting. I want to remind you that I am not part of the trans community. It's not my community, okay? I am part of a system that helped me become a better person, that I live in a great space. I would never look back, okay? 33 years. It is why I continue to put this stuff out there, because it needs to be seen, okay? And I have an obligation to you all to show you that this isn't real. This is all insane ideology for some crazy effing reason. I just can't believe it. So I want to show you one more of these. Not that you need to see another one, but...
My name is Prisha Mosley. When I was a teenager, I was groomed by my doctors, and then a surgeon cut off my breasts because I hated myself. I believed that I was being transformed into a man and that my new identity would make me whole, but that never happened. My surgery left me with nerve damage and painful scar tissue. My chest is numb to the touch, but I suffer internal pain because of the damage. 10 months ago, I gave birth to a baby boy. He is the greatest joy in my life, but his arrival accompanied surgical complications and more trauma. My surgeon left pieces of breast tissue in tatters inside of my chest. This is a common practice when a girl gets quote-unquote top surgery because the surgery is performed by a plastic surgeon and no oncologist is present to make sure that all of the breast tissue is removed. This surgery is cosmetic in nature and destroys functioning body parts permanently. Days after giving...
That's Prisha, a friend of mine, and I think I was probably one of the first ones to bring her on to my YouTube channel, and since then she's gone to become a huge advocate for detransitioning and speaks out, and she did get pregnant and did have a baby, which is pretty amazing, and we've stayed close with each other, and she's a really great person. I really value her friendship, and it just breaks my heart. I'm not going to cry. I'm not, but it just breaks my heart to see their lives are ruined. I don't care what any of you people say. So with that, I'm going to bring you this person, okay? So here's a trans person. This is what we deal with on a daily basis in the community of people who care about these kids, okay? So we deal with these liars.
I don't know why TikTok isn't letting me reply to a comment with a video, but this is the comment that I am replying to. So about 1% of people that get gender affirming care end up detransitioning. Just 1%. And in that 1%, a lot of people end up detransitioning due to safety issues, to social issues, stuff like that. And a lot of people who do detransition because they truly feel that that's not who they are, they don't talk about it in a very negative light. I have seen a lot of videos of people talking about detransitioning and it not being like a positive or negative experience, but just being a part of their life and figuring out their gender now. So there are a lot of people who end up detransitioning but don't have regrets about it. And obviously there are going to be people who are like this person, but it's such a low percentage. And I feel like it can be a little dangerous for you to say that you've permanently damaged your body. That does instill a lot of fear into people. You want trans people to be able to transition, otherwise their mental health is going to be very, very bad. And I don't know what you went through in terms of whether or not you didn't react well to testosterone in your body, or if you've had complications with your surgery or anything like that. But if you're just talking about like regular gender affirming care that, you know, goes pretty well, and you're saying that that has damaged your body, I feel like that is harmful as well. A lot of people have gone through a gender affirming care and are perfectly fine and I wouldn't call it damaged in any way.
This person is such a creep, okay? You see how they discount those two? Just two I showed you. I could show you hundreds of those young ladies and some men who have detransitioned and it destroyed, discounting, literally discounting the people who have been disfigured, who will never be the same. Oh, there's a lot of trans people who detransition and they're perfectly fine. Really? Why don't you show me? You're a liar. That's why it reminds me of a very cult-like space. So with that, there was recently just an article in the New York Times from a guy who's a trans man who did a detransition study. And I will show you right here, and it was so great because it was in the comments of this idiot's TikTok, and it says, the 1% figure is misleading, okay? Kinnan McKinnon, a transgender man, and a researcher on detransition, estimates to be at least 5 to 10% detransition rate. Go read his article in the New York Times. It's even, as far as I'm concerned, bigger than that. That's just one of the parts of the study. In another part of the study, it's like 30%. It's insane, and it grows every day. Every day there's a new detransitioner. Every day I get an email from a detransitioner wanting to come on my show. So this kind of idiot, who's part of the trans cult community, is literally lying to you so that they don't want to make you scared to transition. You should be scared. You should 100% be so nervous to transition. That means that you're making the right choice when it's time to do it. It should not feel so easy to do. And this is why I'll keep reiterating, gatekeeping. People like this are destroying the whole transsexual space. Literally destroying it by being on TikTok, putting out falsities, lies, discounting detransitioners. It's so frustrating. I just, yuck. You're yucky. You're a yucky, horrible person. This last one I want to bring you because I think it's really awesome.
Because the definition of transness became so, you can say, unregulated, right? And so vague, it became really easy for people to latch onto that identity and abuse it for social capital within the spaces where oppression is seen as a virtue. And so I think that many of the people who self-identify as trans and who attend these marches are maladjusted individuals who are using various forms of oppression to gain some level of status within the circles that they operate in. And for them, it's so integral to their identity, and it's such an effective coping mechanism to a certain extent that it's hard for them to peel away from that. And when you tell them, hey, wait a second, maybe you're not the same kind of trans person as a traditional transsexual, they get really offended and they view that as genocidal and they view that as really bigoted.
Genius. Couldn't say it better. That's actually what's happening right there. It's why they don't like when you say transsexual. Yet I have to tell you this, they came after me for so many years because I call myself a transsexual. Blair calls herself a transsexual. Now, all of a sudden, all of these wingnuts are calling themselves transsexual because I knew that was going to happen. I actually knew it. So the whole trans ideology is scary. And it's so effed up, I can't even believe it. I'm just so disgusted. I'm going to keep bringing you these videos. I mean, they're laughable, but they're not. They're actually insane. And this is also effed up. I feel so horrible every time. But I think it's really important that you watch them. I think it's really important that we continue to bring, not only me, Blair, all of us, exposing this insane cult-like behavior, and I think eventually it will go. The problem for me is there's going to be so many of these young girls who are going to be lifelong patients, mentally as well as physically, from these surgeries and hormones that we have given 13-year-olds. It is shocking. So with that, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. It's growing like mad. Thanks for commenting and leaving great comments. And you can even leave nasty comments. It's good for me to see those because it actually keeps fueling me to do what I'm doing. So with that, have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys all on the next one.